All right. So how did you go from your porno experience to getting involved with the Coen brothers?
Right.
Did they see your porno
Again,
work and say, "Hey, Barry"?
I don't think anyone saw it. I don't know what. I never tracked
Followed
that
up?
down.
Yeah.
Again, it has to do with me owning a 16 millimeter camera. I was at a party, a Christmas party with people I didn't know. I knew the hostess, but that was it. And there was one guy across the room who seemed to not be friends with everyone. A tall guy that kind of looked like Howard Stern, and that was Joe Coen.
Right.
And we started to talk because we were the only guys not talking to anyone else. And he had gone to NYU undergraduate school, but I didn't know him at all from there. And he and his brother Ethan had just written the screenplay for Blood Simple. And Joel was the assistant editor on Evil Dead,
Mm-hmm.
Sam Raimi's first movie. And Sam told Joel that the way to raise money to make an independent film was to shoot a trailer as if it was a finished movie and use that trailer to show it to, dentist investing clubs and doctor investing clubs and rich friends of your parents or whatever, because no one can read a script and say, oh yeah, I've never worked on I'm a dentist, but I'm reading the script and I think it sounds like a good movie. And also, Joel and Ethan had never done anything. So how do you know if they're any good? But by having this trailer, the dentists, the doctors, the inventors, the businessmen could look at the trailer and go, A, I'd go see this movie. B, this trailer looks really cool. C, you guys seem to know what you're doing. So Joel said, we're going to shoot a trailer of the script we wrote and see if we can raise money. And I said, well, I own a 16 millimeter camera. And he said, okay, you're hired to shoot the trailer, not the feature. So we shot the trailer and it looked great and we got along great. And it took us a year. Joel went out to Minneapolis where they grew up and hit all the Hadassah women. That's the sort of Jewish, women's society out there. Ethan and I stayed in New York with a print and a projector. And it took us a year, but we raised the $750,000.
Wow.
And went to Austin, Texas. And the first day shooting Blood Simple was the first day that Joel, Ethan, or I had ever been on a movie set. Wow. I had never been a camera operator or a camera assistant on features. Joel had never directed anything except student films and 8 millimeter stuff with Ethan. Ethan had never produced anything. He was a statistical typist at Macy's, where you just typed invoice numbers for 8 hours a day.
Oh my God.
So I always tell people, declare what you are, and you'll find a way to make a living doing it, and that you don't need to work your way up. You should just decide, I'm a cameraman, I'm an editor. And when people say, well, how should I get started in the film business? Truthfully, the best two things where you learn the most actually is what you did, editing and writing. Mm-hmm. Those are your best ways because you learn about structure. And also the great thing about having a script is no one can take that away from you. If you want to be a director, they can always find another director. If they want to hire another editor, they can get another editor. If you have written a script and you own it, and you say, if you want this script, I have to direct it, they'll oftentimes say yes if the script is good enough, because truthfully, studios these days want first-time directors. They want to control everything. The studio does. They don't want people that have strong opinions or people they can't push around. So I think right now it's almost easier to get a job as a first-time director than someone who's been around directing for decades.
That's why. Yeah, it is interesting because I think Ridley Scott came out and said he goes, I can't believe they're giving these $200 million franchise films to a 25-year-old or
Right.
a young kid, and he's very talented or she's but it's not it makes no sense. Why wouldn't you hire Ridley or yourself or somebody who's been down that road? And that makes absolute sense.
It's because the studios want to control everything. The studios don't really understand what directors do and think that they can do it, and that directors are like traffic cops.
Mm-hmm.
And so all those Marvel movies look for first and second time directors for the most part until they're in the family. It's very interesting.